It has been an utter epiphany to discover that rage, R-A-G-E, rage, is a really healthy and common emotion for a very specific reason, that many of us have rage stored within us, even if we're completely unaware of it, particularly if we haven't seen it and cleared it already. And that not only all of this, but that actually rage is sacred. If you had told me years ago that I had rage inside of me, I would have told you that you are crazy. I was raised to be a good girl, be a peaceful girl, be a balanced, stable, positive person. And when I heard the word rage, and when I think about societal conditioning, about what comes to mind when we hear the word rage, usually, particularly when it comes to a woman having the feeling of rage, and oh my gosh, beyond having the feeling, watch out, the idea that you might express your rage would be associated with things like aggression, being out of control, being wrong, being unstable, and being not right or not normal. All of which is total BS. And because probably 90% of my community are women, and I would say 90% of my clients are women, it's really important that we have this conversation about rage. Now, I am no rage expert, but as you know, if you've been in my community for quite a long time, I share from first-hand lived experience. That's my vibe, so I'm here to tell you what I've learned about rage and how amazing these discoveries have been and how free I freaking feel now. So that if you resonate with anything you're about to hear in this episode, you will have an opportunity to reflect on how this might apply to you and thus what might become available to you if you see rage within you. You allow yourself the sacred space to express it in a safe and healthy way so you can be liberated, not from it, no, liberated by it.
You're listening to Practical Spirituality with B, the podcast with spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic. I'm Bernadette Logue. You can call me B, and I'm excited to share this episode with you.
So let's dive into this topic of rage, why it's sacred, and how it might be hiding from you. Because before we even dive in, I had no idea, like zero idea, not even an inkling of a feeling that I had stored rage inside of me. And oh yes, it was there. And Spirit led me to see it and to feel it and to learn about what it is and how to release it. And it's really powerful when you get to shine a really bright light into the deepest, darkest crevices of stuff in your cave within that you're dragging with you that you don't even know is there. Now, I'm not a huge advocate of digging for the sake of digging to find stuff to let go of. That's not really what this is about. But I am 100% about seeing the truth. No matter what the truth is or how painful the truth shall set you free. And I'm 100% about being up for anything that lightens and brightens me at every level, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and in my physical life experience, in my world around me. So if you're up for that too, and that sounds like a bit of you, then this is up your alley. So we're going to go through just kind of breaking this whole rage topic down step by step. And again, I'm not a therapist. This is not some psychological therapy evaluation of rage as emotion. This is just my take on it from mentally, emotionally, and physically having experienced it, and also from a spiritual perspective. So let's just talk about first of all, what is rage? What is the pure feeling of rage? So I looked it up in the dictionary, the source of all wisdom, online dictionary. And it was really interesting because even the dictionary makes it sound like it's a terrible thing. It says violent and uncontrolled anger. And you know what being upset feels like. You know what feeling frustrated feels like. And then building up further, you know what anger feels like. And what's beyond anger? Well, you might say that rage is the end of the road when it comes to the build-up, right? So if you imagine a Coke bottle and you put the lid on tightly and you shake that, and it builds up pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure, because it is not being released, it is not being relieved, it's not being expressed, it's got nowhere to go. And energy that is building up and is intense in its frequency with nowhere to go, that energy is really heavy to carry. Okay, so if you think you're the bottle and inside of you, you've got building up upset, frustrations, resentments, angers, and bit by bit that's building up, and it's big energy and it's got a good heavy, electrical charge to it. When that is not dealt with, not voiced, not acknowledged, not held sacred for the message it's trying to send, and is not allowed an outlet in any healthy or otherwise way, then it's going to stay inside of you. And often big energy, big emotions that aren't addressed, they will find a place to live inside your body. Emotion stores and gets stuck in particular chakras and in particular energy centers and physical parts of the body. So it's not uncommon for that then to start to show itself. So if you think about rage as like an intense, somewhat volatile, big energy, okay? Now, I've been reflecting on different kinds of rage. You can have rage that's your own rage, right? So you can have rage that says, I have rage about this particular topic. I have rage about this particular thing that happened to me. I have rage about this particular person. You can also have rage towards yourself. So there is an element of these things happened to me, society conditioned me this way, I wasn't able, old enough, capable or powerful enough, and I didn't have enough agency to stand up for myself. I feel suppressed by these people, by that thing. And so you start to have rage towards all of those memories, events, people, systems, but also the unspoken part that's interesting to me is a recognition that maybe we also have rage toward ourselves, anger that has built up over time toward ourselves that we could say, let it happen to us. Not that we may have had any choice, but that we didn't feel we were able to do anything to save ourselves, support ourselves, make different choices, go down different paths. So there's that. I also been reflecting on ancestral rage. So think about your ancestral lineage, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. And as I'm saying this, all the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. Like, I don't know who in my lineage is standing right here with me now, but I do feel some teary emotion, so I wonder if someone has arrived to join this conversation. So I don't know, I've got a very strong Irish ancestry. So my father is fully Irish and immigrated from Ireland when he was young. My mother's side of the family is also part Irish, so there's a big element of that. So I don't know for me in my ancestral line what rage may have been experienced or built up over the generations through the various cultural conditioning, faith, hardships, land wars, whatever might have been going on. Think about your ancestral line, where you've come from in terms of your physical family of origin and the history and what people have been through all the generations, and the genetics passed down and the emotions held within the genetic and ancestral line that come down to us in our modern day era once we're born and we pop into the world. So there's that element of rage that we may carry a portion of, but also that we may be really outwardly experiencing and understanding what's gone down in history for family and for our culture or for wherever we've come from. I've also been reflecting on another kind of rage being just what I have phrased ancient rage. So through the many, many millennia of incarnations, earthly incarnations, non-earthly, unseen, seen dimensions, all the different universes, all the different ancient civilizations, all the things that have gone down. And don't forget this, ultimately, we are one. What is within one is rippling to the full all, the totality that we are a part of. Which leads me to the phrase, an additional kind of rage, collective rage, right? Collective outrage, collective rage, the powerlessness, the helplessness, the complete knowingness in the cells of your body, what is not acceptable and not okay, and how that sits when you have no control over whatever is happening. And so you swallow it down, you do what you can, and it gets pocketed away. It gets tucked under your belt, and we move forward. And so when you think about all these different kinds of rage, let's also talk about the fact that you may have never had an experience where you actually, at this point in your life, have felt the full-blown force, that violent kind of force from within of rage. Does that mean it's not there? No, from first-hand experience, I can tell you, because I had no first-hand experience of the very visceral, intense feeling of rage my whole life. And when I found it and it came out, I was like shocked at my own self. Kind of actually almost like feeling a little bit afraid of the ferocity of it that came out. Now I'm going to share with you a couple of examples of it. But I want you to think about it like this. If you walk through your life and you've got all your ancestral history and ancient history and collective history of the world, and you're born into the world, and then you go into your own experience. So you're carrying all of that. But now you're dealing with your own life. Things are happening to you, things are not happening. You're doing things, it's working out, not working out. There's lots of things you can't control. There can be traumas, there can be pains, there can be societal conditioning, there can be suppression, there can be oppression, there can be all sorts of things. And you can have little upsets, and you can have frustrations, and you can start to notice a sense of resentment, and you might notice that you feel unseen, and you might feel powerless or helpless in certain situations. You might start to feel unheard. You might start to notice in very particular areas of your life or in particular settings that you feel caged, that you feel trapped, that you feel suppressed, that you feel maybe you're in the back seat and you want to be in the driver's seat. There might be a sense of being afraid but being angry at the same time. Now, if you take all those little moments, little by little, step by step, building up, and if those things aren't addressed, meaning pause, name it, voice it, honour it, release it, and we'll talk about how to release feelings in a moment, then if you don't do that, where does it go? Because emotion is energy in motion. It's energy inside your body. You know that's true because if I ask you what anger feels like, or frustration, or anxiety, or stress, or fear, you'll start to describe physical symptoms of energy charging through your body. And so when the energy has nowhere to go and it is not processed and released, it just finds a place to live inside. And so that can be in our chakra systems energetically, right? And then that maps over the body. So then we find little pockets in the body where the energy is stored, where our emotions start to live. And we know lots about how emotions live in the body now. But this rage building up over time, right? So it's not like you had a rageful event or you felt rage and you tucked it away. What I've noticed is that rage can be a build-up of lesser and less intense feelings that join hands together and start to live inside of you And it's the combination and culmination and compounding effect of all of those little moments and lesser feelings, lesser intense feelings, that build up to make a ball of rage inside that is actually not necessarily always about one particular thing. So it's not like, it may be, but it's not like I have rage about this one thing only. It can be the build-up of all the things over time. And what's really interesting is the more suppressed we are, the more we are living in what I call the suppressed small self, a sense of being trapped, caged, not free spirit, not fully expressed soul, authentic self, not honouring how we feel and what we need and what we want and the voice that wants to be heard from inside. The more we are in the suppressed small self, the more that rage hides and the bigger and more intense it can tend to be. So, I was having this fabulous conversation with this fabulous new friend of mine on the beach the other day, and she is a spiritual wonder, and the universe has sent her to me very clearly, and I'm so pleased to have her in my life now. And we were having this conversation, and we were talking about how I'd had these signs and synchronicities guiding me to understand rage and to release it from inside of me. And I said to her, we're so well trained, particularly for women, to don't you dare come across as rageful. Like, what does society say about a woman who's full of rage? And we both agreed. We both just rattled off all the phrases that we could imagine, things people would call you if you were to own your rage and to be expressive about your rage. Not toward other people or in public, but just having it, right? The shame upon a person for having rage. Well, you must be mentally unstable. You must be emotionally unstable. That's out of control. That's aggressive. That's wrong. That something's wrong with you, right? Why are you not all peaceful and zen and guru? And so what do? And we stuff it down. We stuff it down, and then we also do this really beautiful thing that is well intended but actually doesn't fully address the situation. We say, let me be a bigger, better person. Let me forgive. Let me find a way to be a peaceful person in the face of triggers. Let me let go of the past. All of which are vitally important and beautiful, beautiful things to do. And at the very same time, a healthy part of healing and evolution and blossoming into your most amazing, authentic soul self is to name your rage and let it out. And that makes it so much easier to be peaceful and forgiving when you have honoured the feeling that is hiding in the shadows and wants to be heard. And that's what Spirit told me recently when I got these signs about rage and releasing rage. Was the message was really clear: to elevate your frequency and to fill yourself with more light, which all of us can do, because I'm just talking about being a soul incarnate on the human journey here on planet Earth, to elevate your frequency, to be lighter in your vibration, in your body, in your feeling system, in your life, to be more everything, more authentic, more spacious within, more able to be your most creative, soulful, expressed self. The rage needs to be seen, to be heard, and to be released, because it will make space for more light. And I love that. I love that that is the sacred purpose of looking at your rage and letting it out, aside from all the many other huge benefits of being able to do that. So what's really interesting is rage is so volatile and intense as a feeling that, like, the 2 times that I'm going to share with you that I discovered rage inside of me, again, it was so filled with, I can't even describe, the ferocity of it was shocking to me. It was like, I don't even know who I am in this moment. And I don't think I like this, but I can't stop it because it needs to come out. And it feels so good to let it out, but it also feels so scary, and it also feels a bit wrong. Like, for example, I was letting it out one time and I was like, wow, I'm really letting this out. Oh, wow, I'm really going to town on this. Oh, wow, I'm really, really, like, under no uncertain terms going to say exactly what I feel about this. And I mean, like, letting rip, like letting it out in a really big way. And so we can be shocked by what is within. And this is that willingness to see the truth and to not be afraid of your own self, not be afraid of your own humanity, not judge off the lovable things, not judge your humanity. It is human to have the full range of emotions. It is healthy to have the full range of emotions. It's not healthy to go and blurt them out at everybody and cause carnage and damage to other people. That's not what rage is. Rage is a feeling you're having of which you can honour and express and release. We're not talking about releasing it to other people or on other people, right? So you start to have this willingness to honour being a human being and the fact that this is a healthy and normal experience to have. Particularly when you realise where it's come from. All that you go through on your life journey that you have had to deal with, many situations where you did not have agency, you did not have power, you were not able to help yourself, you were not old enough to, things happened, you even let things happen in your adult life, you made choices that you may be rageful towards yourself about. All of this stuff is just natural, normal stuff that happens on the human journey. And, you know, thank the lovable things that we get to live in a society in modern history where we all have big conversations about feelings now. And it's not wrong to have feelings. And we are finally saying there's no judgment on it. And don't ever shame people about their feelings. And you are allowed to feel the way you do, right? Because there's lots of times in history, which is why there was so much built up rage, where people weren't allowed to say how they felt. Where you better just shut that down and button your lip and button up. Because nobody wants to hear it, right? And it's not being a good girl. And it's not being a good person to have feelings about XYZ things, and you should just be okay. And this horrid toxic positivity of you should just be positive about everything. And oh my gosh, it's so bad if I have a negative thought or a negative feeling. No, it's not. That's called you dealing with your stuff. Name, process, release, then by all means elevate to forgiveness, transcendence of ego, positivity, optimism, hope, faith, mindset training, empowerment, inspiration, being a force of good for yourself and all others. But let's not drag rage with us while we do it, because we don't have to, simply because we don't have to. So let me share with you a couple of instances, and I'm going to share with you also how I have utilised different techniques for letting rage out. So the first time this happened was a few years ago, and I was just at a time in my life where I just felt really flat, and I just could not summon the will to like be forging ahead with projects and goals, and I just felt really done, really done. And I remember saying to life, I just want to get off this ride. Like, I just want to live a peaceful, quiet life in my little corner, and I just want to do my thing, and I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be out there helping people. I don't want to be doing this work. I've done enough. Like, I'm totally fine with just like sitting in my garden and doing my thing and like being alone. And I wallowed in that kind of weird energy for a little bit, and that's all right. But then one day I was sitting on my bed and I was tapping. Oh, hallelujah, thank the Lord for tapping. So if you don't know what tapping is, EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques, also popularly called tapping. A process of tapping on acupressure points, meridian points around your body while you are talking about how you feel in order to accept the feeling and release the intensity of stress response inside your brain body system. So it creates relief, creates release, creates calming, creates space. Very cool technique. And also when I'm tapping, and as I tap with clients as well, I often find it leads you to new insights. It's often like peeling layers of an onion, and you often through tapping discover what is truly going on below the surface of the tapping that you are doing. So if you're tapping on a problem in your life or a surface level thing or a way you're feeling that day, usually within a short space of time, the root of the issue that's a little deeper down in the cave within will come to the surface to be said, seen and processed. And that's what happened on this day. I remember sitting tapping, and I must have just been tapping on feeling down. And I don't know where this rage dragon came from, but it came up and it came unexpected, and it came with the full force, like I was breathing and spitting fire. And I started yelling out the words, I started cursing, and I was tapping so hard I probably bruised my face. Because you tap, anyone who knows tapping will be laughing right now, but when you tap, there's acupressure points on your face, so you're tapping on your face. And it got so intense, I just grabbed a pillow and started screaming into the pillow. And it was just almost like an utter sense of hopelessness. And I don't really know what it was, other than a sense of that what I'm doing is not enough, it's not making enough difference, it's not helping me, it's not helping other people. It was a sense of there's something else and I don't know what, and I can't figure it out. And it was just like a helpless feeling. And that release of rage was so cathartic. It was like taking off 100 pounds of weight without really knowing I'd ever been carrying it, and without really knowing what just happened. Like I was like, what just happened? I remember saying to my sister, so this weird thing just happened. Like a viciousness of rage inside of me just came pouring out my mouth, spitting out my mouth, cursing, raging, wanting to scream and yell, but even then not letting myself in case the neighbours heard, like, oh no, what if the neighbours hear, what will they think of you, right? Even then freaking suppressing myself. But the point is I let it out, and I then spent a couple of weeks doing some interesting things to help continue process whatever the energy was, because I was really clear there was pent up energy. And it almost felt to me at the time when I was doing it that it didn't much matter exactly what events had led to the build-up of this rage or how long that rage had been within. I kind of felt like it was a lifetime's worth, or maybe even from some other experience beyond this lifetime. But I knew that energy wanted to move. And so what I started doing was I started to do toning. So toning is where you hum with your mouth open out loud, right? So it's like chanting, but you're holding one note and you just tone it out. So you hold a note and you let it come out, almost like singing, but it's like chanting, and you let that tone come out until you empty your breath, and then you go again. And it's very powerful. You can put a lot of force behind it. It's very vibrational in your vocal cords, and it sort of feels like an energy vibrating through your being. It's really beautiful. You can look it up online if you're interested. It's toning, Toning. So I did that. I also did what I remember learning many years ago, and I think from where I learned it was called hearts on, but it's where you sit and you make an intentional choice that you're going to let whatever is within your being that wants to be released come out. And all you do is open your mouth and let whatever noise wants to come out, come out. Okay, it's very, very powerful. You want to do it when you're in a safe space where there's no one around so that you can freely let yourself go. But it's really interesting. Crying can come out, wailing might come out, screaming might come out, intense words might come out. Who knows what's going to come out? But you let your body and its wisdom let out through this heart song, through this willingness to open your mouth and let energy come out through whatever sound, frequency and intensity it needs to come out. And there's almost no time in your whole life where anyone will ever give you permission to do that, where you will ever have an opportunity where it feels normal or safe to do that. In fact, it's almost, if you went around and asked everyone on the planet who's done that, I'm pretty sure we could count a really small number of people that have done it. It's very, very powerful though. It's like all of us should have an opportunity to do that. And you can do it at home, on your own, right now if you want to. What is my intention? My intention is to let whatever energy in here, whatever is in here that wants to come out, come out. Sit, close your eyes, open your mouth, and let whatever sound wants to come out, come out. Without judgment, without suppression, without holding it back, without needing to figure out what it is. Just imagine it's like clearing out, cleaning out, expressing out, getting it out, right? And you might get clarity about what it is and what it means, but just getting the energy to move is a huge part of it. You can do things, other things, so we've got chanting, toning, heart song, good old pillow screaming, tapping. Exercise is a huge one. Whenever I've had following that and other instances, I will typically move my body because your body is containing the energy, and so moving your body is really powerful. So you can do gentle stuff, you can do yoga, dance, performance, anything that is really soft and sacred and allows you to feel like you can move your energy. But you can equally go punch a boxing bag, and you can go lift some heavy weights, which I love to do, and you can go and do some intense stuff and let that energy out. So whatever way vibes with you. But I'm going to share you one more way, and I'm going to give you my most recent examples. There's only 2 times where rage has taken me by surprise. So the last time was in the last month. Within 24 hours, about 4 things triggered me in the same way, and it was so interesting and so visceral that my body had like a palpable physical reaction. And so I sat down and I said, with my journal, and I said, I want to see the true root of this, because I don't think these triggers are anything to do with what's really going on in here. I think these triggers are just surface level things to show me what's in here. And I think this comes from somewhere else. So I want you to show me. And I closed my eyes and meditated, and I got shown 4 or 5 scenes from being 5 or 6 years old at school. And in every one of the scenes and situations, there was a very dominant, overpowering adult in a position of authority, making me feel absolutely powerless and completely scared. And clearly, I stored that inside, and it turned into rage, because in the meditation, I just followed my intuition, and here is how I helped myself to heal and release that particular ball of rage. I went into each one of those situations inside my memory, inside my mind's eye, as my adult self now. And I marched in there, and I stood between those adult teachers and my 5-year-old self, and I laid into them. I put my finger up, and I told them exactly what I thought of them, and how dare they treat a 5-year-old child with that? How dare they speak to a child that way? How dare they misuse their power in that way? How dare they not have compassion? How dare they treat a child like a 20-year-old and expect them to be able to emotionally cope and respond? How dare they emotionally harm children that way? And it went on and on and on. And I did not stop until I was done. And I cannot even tell you how liberating and powerful and healing and cathartic it was. And at the end of each one of those scenes, because I went into every memory, each scene, at the end of explaining these things to the teacher, and by the way, I'm not doing this to forgive them. I'm not doing this to make peace. This is called rage release. This is not about that. It is about letting out the feeling and being allowed to in a safe and healthy way. And at the end of each one of those scenes, I turned around and I took the hand of my 5-year-old self, and I said, you don't have to deal with this, and you don't deserve to be on the receiving end of this, and we're out of here. And I marched her out and took her under my arm, and it was just very, very powerful, and I feel super liberated from that exercise. So there are lots of different ways that you can process and release rage, and really it's like an intuitive thing. When you hear an idea about how to release a big feeling, go with what feels right and good to you. But the important thing that I've learned with rage is that You don't want to rein it in when you're wanting to let it out. We don't let it out at people. We do not let it out toward the source of it. It is about processing it so that you can let it out in a safe and sacred way where you get to be completely and utterly expressed, not suppressed, without anybody there to rein it in, to judge it, to shame it, to react. You don't need to deal with other people's reactions when you're trying to process this. This is all about you and you being free, which means you getting the energy out, you naming what's there, voicing it, expressing it, and letting the energy move so you can create the spaciousness within for more light, more of your authentic self to take up residence inside your body and your energy system. And, it's interesting to say, if you think about where does rage come from and all these little moments building up over time, I always say that every feeling is a messenger. So if rage is a messenger, what message does it have to tell us? Well, it tells us, I feel wronged, I feel unseen, I feel unheard, I feel powerless, I felt powerless. I have been forced down roads or choices that were not mine. I did not stand up for myself. I had made decisions to placate other people and do not feel I'm living as my authentic self. I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I'm caged. I feel like I'm trapped. The list goes on. If you find that you have a sense of rage within, ask it, sacred rage, what do you want to tell me? What is your message to me? And you are allowed to speak now and let it say what it wants to say. The price of suppressing it is clear. We have to drag it with us. It contorts and distorts our energy. It weighs us down and it keeps us in suppression. The gift of expressing it is, it lets your energy move, it creates more emotional balance, you create a sense of freedom, you can move and breathe more easily, literally within your body, as well as more spaciousness, just to feel free to be who you are, start a new fresh chapter, a new season of your life without carrying it with you. And your soul and source want you to be able to process and release what is heavy. So you can learn from it, you can heal, you can grow, you can expand into green fields beyond what that was. And also, rage acknowledged and released can turn to wisdom really frickin' rapidly. And so it becomes, instead of your enemy within, it becomes your ally. Because rage, when it is acknowledged and released, turned to wisdom, says, that didn't work for me, and so I'm wiser now, so this is what I know to be true. And this is who I am, and this is what I need, and this is what I'm choosing, and this is how I express myself. And wisdom that you pass on to others in your life journey as you go about sharing what you see and what you know. So, in summary, rage can feel scary, but rage is not to be afraid of. Rage is something to acknowledge, to reflect on, to hold sacred, to release in beautiful, cathartic, healing and liberating ways. And when we see the truth of any rage that we might have within us, seeing it and releasing it sets us free. So I hope that whoever's listening to this, it has been helpful in some way to offer you an insight into what might be going on within you, or if you know, 100% I've got some rage in there, that maybe you will feel like it is sacred and that you do have this beautiful opportunity, that it is like an amazing thing that you can go and meet with and let it out in a way that feels safe and sacred to you, make it ritualistic, have it be beautiful for you. Light a fire, play some music, do some journaling, do any of the things that I've suggested. There's many, many ways that you can release the feeling of big emotions, but it's so beautiful. And you have no idea what happens and what opens up in your life when you free up that much space inside of you. When you free up that much space and energy inside of you, by letting out something that's so big in its energy and usually so built up into a big ball over time of many, many things adding up. So I'm all about it. And I'm so glad to have made an episode about this. I'm so glad to the Unseen Dimension for bringing to light my random coming across a ball of rage that I had and feeling lighter and brighter as a result of having processed it. And if you need any more help, reach out to me. You can come over to my website, bernadettelogue.com, www.bernadettelogue.com. You can also reach me at support@bernadettelogue.com, support@bernadettelogue.com. Ways I can help you, lovely. Number 1, Soul Odyssey program. If you are interested in meeting your authentic soulful self, clearing yourself of all the conditioning and baggage that is not you, so you can live what is true, so you can understand and align with the deepest aspects of who you really are as an authentic soulful being and feel a deep connection to that which gives life to you, source, God, creator, divinity, universe, understanding your soul journey from A to Z and the magical deep dive that all of that is, then come over and join the Soul Odyssey program with me. It's open for enrollment. It is a deep dive, comprehensive, amazing program for your spiritual and personal development. It comes with 12 months of live support, monthly live Zoom group coaching and Q&A sessions with me. Our community is freaking awesome. The people in there are amazing. It's a great vibe, so loving. And we also have discussion forums in our private members area where you can get Q&A support, sharing and connection 24/7 over the 12 months within the program. And you get to keep the program for lifetime, but you get 12 months live support with it. Also, if you want private coaching one-on-one, you can email me, support@bernadettelogue.com, and I can let you know where things are at in terms of capacity that I've got at the moment. There are spaces for my New Year package at present. So I'm going to take 5 people. For that, that's going to be a full month of coaching for the month of January, privately one-on-one with me. But also it's going to involve you receiving a set of resources to utilize over the December, Christmas, New Year period in your own time, really short and sweet, but really powerful around confidence, empowerment, and soul-aligned goal setting and action planning for 2024. So if you vibe with doing really soul-nourishing things over the holiday season, then that's for you. And then what we'll do is after you've utilised those resources, we then connect in January for a whole month of personalised support where I will deep dive with you and we will release any and all blocks that we find in alignment with you being able to move forward with your amazing 2024 goals. So I'm looking forward to sharing the next episode with you. If you need anything else, just reach out to me. I'm sending much love to you. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Practical Spirituality with B. I'll talk to you next episode for more spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic.